Hello lovelies, how are you all doing today? I hope you are well. I am. A bit warm actually because randomly our temperature has started going down a bit. Last night was really quite chilly. So I've been out, done my shopping, that's why we're here. But I think I put too many layers on. I've come back and was like, quick, rip off layers. Oh, I never seem to get it quite right. Anyway, never mind. I'm well, it's cold outside. So, I've done my weekly shop, but I thought I'd mention the last couple of weeks because I don't show my shopping that often. Hang on, sorry. Yeah, really hot. I don't show my shopping that often, and people say, oh, do a weekly shopping vid, do it. And I often say, look, there's no point because it's boring. It will get very boring very quickly because it's very, very similar. I'm basically buying the stuff I haven't grown, sort of. However, I thought I'd share today because there's something a bit different today, but also to mention, someone asked, I can't remember, it might have been comments on a video or was it on Facebook, doesn't matter. Someone said, yes, but how do you account for big items like loo roll and detergents, so laundry washing liquid, dishwashing liquid. They're the only detergents I use. I only do one load of laundry a week, sometimes stretch it to 10 days, so I don't get through much, but those I get them refilled, and refills are always cheaper than buying brand new. But also I get them from a place where I can trade excess veggies. So in the late spring, when I cannot fit another stick of rhubarb in my freezer, when I've had rhubarb coming out of my ears, I mean I love rhubarb, but it grows really abundantly for me. So I fill up my freezer with loads for myself, and then after that any excess I trade with this particular shop, and they give me a credit note and it's all done by weight. So I get £1.50 per kilo of produce. So I might get a credit note for 75p if it's half a kilo. I might get a credit note of £4.50 if it's 3 kilos. So I keep all my little credit notes, and then as and when I need my laundry refill, I grab my empty bottle, go to the shop with my little credit notes, get my refill, it's free. So I get my laundry detergent and my washing up liquid in exchange for excess rhubarb, essentially. Yeah, brilliant. So I don't generally have those as big purchases. And then with the loo rolls, well, obviously a pack of loo rolls is going to last me three to 4 weeks. So that's only every sort of, let's say it's every third shopping week I get the loo rolls. And actually that's what I did last week. I'm just trying to, I jotted them down to remember my spending. So I did my loo rolls last week and I didn't have much else to buy. So yeah, put the loo rolls in a week where there's not a lot to buy. Loo rolls are expensive. And then the following couple of weeks, well, you know, I don't have that big thing to buy, just the food. So for instance, in the Christmas week, Christmas to New Year, you're not going to believe it. I know there's going to be people out there who won't believe me, but I didn't do any food shopping. I don't do any extra stuff for Christmas. I was given some really lovely treats. I had mince pies from Nikki and from Joe, and some crackers and some crisps. But I don't do any special food for Christmas. I don't go out and buy a turkey, obviously. So I just made do with what I had at home. Didn't feel like going out anyway, so it's like fine, that's a kind of a no spend week. I did buy that wine, which was £5. It was on offer at Tesco's. I think it's normally £6.50. Oh, it was on offer for £5. But the lovely Sinead had sent me a tenner to get myself some of that knockoff Bailey's stuff. They didn't have any left by the time I got there. So I bought the bottle of wine, but that was a gift, actually. So yeah, it was a Christmas to New Year was a no spend week. I wasn't entertaining, so I didn't need anything extra, fine. Then that first week of the new year, I got Loo rolls, that was the big purchase. Marmite, another big purchase. The peas and the onions. So it's about £9. I didn't keep the receipts, sorry. It's about £9. So it's, you know, it's well within my budget. And then today I have spent, so let's get to today. But yeah, that was just to answer that question about how do I budget for big items like loo rolls. Well, we always know when we're going to run out of loo rolls. We always know when we're going to need them. And it kind of depends on the season, what's coming from the garden, what have I got stored. I just make sure I slot it into one of the weeks when I'm not buying so much food. So if, for example, in 1 week, if I've bought rice, lentils, oil, celery, carrots, all that kind of stuff, the following week I won't need to buy any of those things because that will last me, some of that will last me a couple of weeks, some of it will last me a couple of months. So I won't have to buy anything the following week. So the following week I might think to myself, right, get the loo rolls this week, maybe even get 2 packets of loo rolls this week because it's a no food spend. The following week I might think, oh, I'll get myself a jar of oil because that's expensive. So you see what I mean? It's always just, I know when I'm going to need to buy some foodie things like rice and what have you, and I know when I'm going to need to buy some loo rolls, so I just make sure it's not in the same week and it's doable. And ultimately, if I did have to do it all in 1 week, I would do it all in 1 week and then not spend the following week. It's doable. Anyway, that's history. Where are we at today? So today, I'm going to rattle through my purchases, and there's one thing I'm really pleased about because of packaging. So I rattle through the purchases and then my menu plan. Actually, I've got a really lovely week of food coming up. I can't wait to start. So, let's start with, it's a bit heavy actually. If I put it on the table, it's going to wobble the tripod. Are we going to wobble? So, first things first, celery, 57p. I'm really pleased because look, it's just a paper band around it. They've removed that big plastic bag it used to come in. Fantastic. So just as I was saying a second ago about buying things which will last a couple of weeks, that will probably last a couple of weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's about 9 or 10 stalks in that. Yeah, that should probably last me a couple of weeks. 57p. Good stuff. I have bought bread this week because of something that's coming up, which I'll explain more. I'm not trying to be a tease, but it's going to be the next video. That's the that seeded. They've had to stop calling it sourdough. Apparently, there's been some brouhaha because they use yeast in it as well as a sourdough starter. So I think it's got some sourdough in it, but also some yeast. There was this brouhaha in the press calling it sour faux. Anyway, that's £1.79. It's quite expensive. It's a bit of a treat actually, but it goes with something else which I'll explain more about in the next video. I bought a spard loose, so 23p. Great. And I like buying things loose when I can because of, you know, let's get rid of packaging. Oh, this is a random one. Ibuprofen, 40p. I don't take it every day, not by any means at all. I don't even know if I take it every week, but every now and again I use it in conjunction with my prescribed painkiller for my knees. And just recently they've been getting a little bit naughty, naughty knees. So yeah, anti-inflammatories, 40p. The thing with this is a good point to make actually, ibuprofen. So most of you will know Nurofen, and you know, tackles all sorts of pain, headache, period pain, muscle pain, whatever it is. And it costs about £2.60 for the equivalent amount of tablets. It's exactly the same thing. Nurofen is just a brand name for ibuprofen. By Nurofen, you are not getting a better drug. You're not getting any more of the drug. It's still probably in either 200 or 400 gram tabs of ibuprofen. So don't be duped into thinking to buy Nurofen, just buy unbranded ibuprofen. Most chemists, well, all chemists should do a non-branded variety, and it's always masses cheaper. I've never understood why anyone would buy Nurofen. It's ibuprofen. Oh yes, to go with the bread, butter. How much is their butter? It might be the most expensive thing. £1.69. So bread and butter between them. Oh my God, they whopped up my, they've pushed up my bill this week, but worth it, love it. We need some fat in our diets. Carrots. So how many grams? So 3/4 kilo. Organic carrots are 99p. I did quickly look at non-organic. I just wanted to, I wasn't going to buy them, but I wanted to do a price comparison for those whose budget is even tighter than mine. They were 69p, so 30p cheaper. So yeah, a third cheaper. So buying the non-organic would be like getting an extra 250 grams free. However, I'm happy to buy organic. Just wish we could get away from the bags. What else? And then how much were these each? Where are they? I'll show you my thing in a second. 37p each. I've got now this is the departure. 2 tins of peeled plum tomatoes. 2 tins of peeled plum tomatoes. Like a tongue twister to get my mouth working. 37p each, so 74p for those two. I can't remember the last time I bought tins of tomatoes. I wanted chopped tomatoes. They didn't have any. Shells are quite bare. These will do instead. I'll simply chop them up. And I've bought these because I'm going to do a recipe video with you. But I want to use shop bought. I didn't want to use any of my garden produce for the video because I want folk who don't have a garden to be able to follow along as well and picture themselves doing with shop bought ingredients rather than garden grown ingredients. So it does feel a bit weird for me to buy some tins of Toms. Now on that subject, this is my. Will the camera be able to fit? What? Hang on, let me see what it is first. Yeah, let me see. It's £6.41. There's the total. £6.41 at Lidl, and then I've also spent at Tesco's and Sainsbury's. I'll go into more detail because this is all for the video, the recipe video. I've spent a further £2.75. So in total this week I've spent £9.16. However, £2.75, £3.50 of that is strictly to make a video. So if I wasn't making the video, if I wasn't sharing with you guys, none of that would have been purchased, and I'd be down to about £5.50, £5.60. Folk are going to look at that and say, you can't possibly live on that for the week. Oh, I had a comment about that actually when it wasn't even a shopping video, because I was sitting in the living room, but I showed the stock I use, because I'm always being asked, what is that dried stock you use? Is it vegetarian? Is it vegan? So I thought the easiest thing to do would be to show it, because I'm sure loads of you are like me, we're very visual people. So if you can actually see something, I need some of my By the Sea treats for a tenner hand cream. It's because I've had a scrub when I came in. Yeah, if you see something, it's easier to sort of remember it when you're next out and about doing your shopping. So, and it was one of my really low spend weeks. I just didn't need anything. I've got a kitchen full of food. I've got masses of dried stuff in the freezer, nothing in the fridge anymore, of course. So yeah, it was just one of those weeks where I simply didn't need to buy anything except the stock. So I bought the stock and I was showing it because I wanted people to know about it, because people keep asking. And then I got a really snippy comment from someone saying, this is ridiculous, you're lying, blah, blah, blah. No one can survive for a week on just one pot of stock. It's like, I didn't say that I was only going to eat that for the week. I said it's the only thing I've bought for the week. Of course I'm going to eat food. It just reminds me I have to be really, really clear so that people, they just want to, yeah. So, no, I agree that doesn't look like much food, but remember I'm putting this with garden produce and masses and masses of stored produce from earlier in the year. So when you start to add into this a couple of butternut squash, a load of either dried beans or frozen beans from the garden, and then from the garden fresh beetroot, kale, some cabbage, some chard, suddenly you'd have a big pile here and you think, oh yeah, that is someone's food for the week, I get it now. And then if you put next to it some rice and some lentils, which I've got stored, you see how it all fleshes out to be food for a week. So what am I going to have this week? Lovely food week this week. So I've got, in the freezer, I've got a couple of portions of pea risotto, so good, so good, and a couple of portions of chilli. I think it was on Boxing Day, I made a massive pot of chilli. Oh, I love it. I had it with rice, or I was even thinking, I was tempted but I didn't do it, in a baked potato, and I thought, no, I'm not putting the oven on. But yeah, I have it with rice, even, this might sound weird to some people, on a bit of toast. I love it. So I think I've got at least 2 portions of chilli in the freezer because I made masses of it. Then, to make fresh this week, I will do a curry. Always love a curry. I'll use a squash. I'll use probably half a squash for the curry and the other half I'll turn into a soup. So for all my lunches will be soups. And then I'll have a little bit of bread and butter with it. Yum, 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 yum. And the recipe I'll do is another soup recipe. So we'll have soup every day for lunch. Then a curry that will be half a squash, chickpeas, beans, and some green stuff from the garden, chard, kale, whatever. Yum, yum, yum. I'll make up 4 portions, so yeah, I'll come to the actual order in the week now. I'm going to make a fasolada, hence the potato. I'll use my own tomatoes for that. This is purely for the purpose of making a video, but I'll use my own tomatoes for the fasolada. I've got the carrots there. I don't have any time in the garden. One of my neighbours does. I might ask if I can have a little bit of their time. Not their physical time, their plant time. I'll see if I'll do a swap, see if I've got something they would like in swap. So fasolada, beet burgers, of course. I'm loving my beet burgers. So I'll have those with, I might even have them in a bit of bread. That's naughty, isn't it? And I might make a tomato, because I'll be making a tomato sauce for something else. I might reserve a bit and reduce it and make almost like a tomato sauce to have with my beet burger. Yummy. So this week it can always change. I could have curry, next day risotto, next day chili, next day fasolada, next day beet burgers, next day, because there's 7 days in the week, another curry. And then the day after that, whatever, another bit of chili, fasolada, whatever it is. So nice variety there. That's a really, really yummy menu. I love all those. Pea risotto, chili, curry, fasolada. I'm salivating. So yeah, I've got stuff that I will make. And whenever I make anything, I always make excess. So I can put a couple of portions at least in the freezer. I will use a couple of portions from the freezer of things that were last week's make. I need to pop to the garden to get these the beets and some greens and see if I can get a bit of time. But yeah, it's so much of it. It's based around what I've grown and what I've got stored. So every meal, well, the pea risotto, that's a complete treat because I have to buy the peas and you have to buy the rice. But other things, the star ingredient is from the garden, and there's just bits and bobs around it. So, you know, like carrot, celery, or the potato, whatever it is, that are fairly inexpensive ingredients added in. And it all comes down to things like spices and flavourings, doesn't it? So I'm going to have curry and chilli, really strong flavours. The risotto, that gorgeous mild creaminess. What else am I having? Fasolada, that lovely herby, almost scented broth. I can't wait. Cannot wait to eat this week. So yeah, there we have it. That's another, you know, pretty bog standard shop for me. I mean, really, take those out. Carrots and celery are, you know, they're nearly all, they're not every week purchases, but they are when I do, how to put it, I was going to say they're always in my shopping basket. They're not, because that lot will last a couple of weeks. But that's what I should say. Every couple of weeks or so, you'll see celery and carrots and possibly an onion. Or, of course, I got the onions the other day and I've got 4.5 left over. I've got one in a box. So yeah, celery, carrots, onions, every couple of weeks I'll buy a little stock of them like this, and they'll go through 2 weeks. But yeah, I hope that kind of shows how I manage it, because I know some people are like, I just don't understand. Look, the thing with the shopping as well is I don't drink tea and coffee, so I never purchase them. And as a knock-on from that, I don't drink milk, so I never buy milk. You know, meat is expensive. Beans are considerably more cheap. And of course, the beans, they're all in the freezer. They're all beans I've grown myself. So that's you know, when people can't understand how I do it or can't quite see it, they can't see it how they would do it. There are some very basic things which possibly you buy that you don't even think about because it's just so part of your life and habit, that you can't imagine how I've managed to buy it for so cheap. But that's the point, is I haven't bought it. So no tea, no coffee, no milk, not too much bread, not too often. I don't buy yogurts, I don't buy cream, I don't do any baking, so there's no flour. I don't buy eggs, I don't buy sugar. There's masses and masses and masses of stuff that are probably in a lot of people's shopping baskets or shopping trolleys most weeks that I simply never buy. It's not that I'm, you know, being super frugal and not buying it that week. I simply never buy them. Breakfast cereals, I never buy breakfast cereals. I like oats, I like the porridge oats, but a simple bag of porridge oats compared with, say, a box of muesli or granola is way cheaper. And of course, I'll whiz up my own bit of oat milk to have in my porridge in the morning, that I whiz up for pennies rather than spending £1 or more on buying oat milk at the shops. The whole point is, it is doable. But you just have to think outside the box a bit. And also, it's doable for me because there are so many things that I simply don't eat or drink, like tea, coffee, cereal. Simple as that. Yogurts. It's a long list. I eat vegetables. That's my thing. Vegetables and pulses and all that loveliness. Right, I'm going to wrap up now because I'm actually starting to really salivate and feel hungry, having listed all those lovely things that I could eat for the week. But yeah, that's another shop done. Another week of really lovely meals to look forward to. And I will see you in the next video. We'll be doing a recipe. And part of the expense is because I've bought, obviously I've bought the ingredients for the recipe, but I've bought a couple of shop-made versions of the recipe to test against my own homemade version. So we're going to be testing them both for taste, but the big thing is the test of cost, of if you make it yourself over buying it ready-made at the shops. So that should be fun and interesting one to do together, and that will be coming up in the next video. So I will see you then. Until then, oh, my tummy just did a massive rumble. Tummy rumbling's weird, isn't it? I always think it's really, really loud and everyone else must have heard it. No one's looking. Yeah, happy cooking in the meantime, and happy you know, getting inventive with your recipes and maybe doing some swap outs at the shop, like I was saying in that video a couple of videos back about if they've got an offer on, maybe swap out your cabbage for some kale if the kale is on offer. I noticed kale is on offer this week. I didn't buy any though because I've got it in the garden because I'm lucky because I've got a garden. Anyway, right, that's it. Shut up, go and eat. See you all in the next one very soon. Until then, cheerio.